Morning, everybody. Here is, and welcome to my live. Here's my new book, and this is what this is based on. How to see God everywhere. You missed God on the way to the mosque, temple, or the church. How to see God everywhere. And so most people have complaints and grievances. They have complaints about a job. They have complaints about a boss. They have complaints about partners and spouses. And we miss the fact that this acorn brain, I trademark this little voice in our head, and I call it the little fucker. I suggest naming it. That voice loves complaining. It loves being right. And this is the place where people miss God. They miss the superior reasoning power, as Einstein used to say, that created this unimaginable universe. They miss it. And what happens is we make the moment wrong, and that's where you're missing God. God's never absent. How could God be absent? We're floating on a little ball. Here, I'll show you something that I use to remind myself that this is the earth painted on a marble. And physicists say that actually we're smaller than that in relation to the size of the universe, that the earth might be a grain of sand or even smaller. So that's our egoic mind. We think this is so important that the outer vision, the outer titles, the outer material possessions define who we are. That's not true. You define who you are by just being in the moment and deciding God is everywhere. So when you notice the brain complaining about a job, for example, how about this shift? Remind your brain it's training you for the future. It might feel uncomfortable. It's just a feeling. It might feel like it's miserable being here. Again, it's just a feeling. You can train your mind to find the gift that life is a gift, that there's a superior reasoning power that put that job in your path and you chose it, and then you complain about it. That's where you're missing God. And when I say people miss God on the way to the mosque, the temple, or the church, it's because we're in complaints always. The mind is in complaint mode. And these are the things to watch out for. When you're complaining in your head about someone, or then you verbalize it, you're taking the gift that was meant for you out of the moment. And now you're somewhere else. People take themselves away from God. God has never taken itself, I say itself, away from us. How could it? We're living in something we don't understand or comprehend. We can't even. Physicists think they're getting closer and certainly have discovered many, many, many more things about the universe. And still, we are as far away probably as the Incas and the Aztecs when they were sacrificing princesses and babies to satisfy the gods. So, how did I come to this awareness? I didn't always have it. I did want to be a priest when I was young until I met a young lady on the high school bus. Then I knew Catholic priest wouldn't work. Thankfully, that flashed forward for me. I could see the ramifications of that. And then when I was 50, on November 18th, 2002, with two friends at the end of my bed in intensive care, I had been in intensive care at that point for 5 days. I flatlined and I got a peek at what's next. What awaits us all, because there's a forever now in the universe, is what's next. It's not death. Death is a human figment because we are afraid of everything. Instead of really living, we even believe we have to do certain things to earn God's love. In the book, I asked people, which of your children would you condemn to burn in hell for a mistake they made? I don't care what the level of mistake is. Which of your children would you burn in hell? If you don't have children, which are your neighbor's children or your brothers and sisters' children or any child? What child would you burn in hell? So if you don't understand that or you reject it, you say, oh, no, I would how could I? I would never condemn a child to burn in hell, or I would never condemn any of my children to burn in hell, then what you're suggesting is that your love is greater than God's or the creator of the universe. Now, I won't go into all the details of my near-death experience. I will tell you it had no sex. It had no nationality, no race, there was no division there. Everything was one. I immediately knew when I left my body, I was one with everything and nothing. Now, I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm just saying that with our ego, humans miss the beauty of life, especially in the darkest and most difficult times. Whatever assignment you've been given, whatever path you're on, think for a moment. Did a superior reasoning power give me this to learn and grow? What are the challenges that I'm here to undertake? Maybe help advance God's work on earth. Maybe help advance small-minded thinking in humans into limitless thinking, non-judgmental thinking. God's love is different than our love. God's love is unconditional in the moment. Loving the moment is actually being aligned with God's love. But you have to prove this to yourself, because you will notice, and you know after I say this, how many complaints that your mind suggests. Why are you listening to your brain? Your brain is beautiful, but it's not always a friend. That's another book I wrote. By the way, here's the book again, right? You can go to Amazon and get this book. You missed God on the way to the mosque, the temple, or the church, how to see God everywhere. But I'm not here to sell books. I'm here to advance God's work. We have modernized as a society, and especially in the last 100 years, and even another leap forward in the last 50 years. And it's amazing what will happen in the next 50, maybe even in the next 10 years. But we still believe in a God that's over 2,000 years old, in writings over 2,000 years old, or maybe even 4,000 or 5,000 years old, because there's writings that go back that far. The messages from the prophets were designed to be stretching and making people uncomfortable for the times. I mean, Christ said that our sins were forgiven. I don't think sin ever existed, but he had to say something that, by the way, was outrageous for the time. And he said there was nothing you had to do to earn God's love, which upset the people that were living in a transactional era, that you had to do things a certain way, pray at certain times, wash your hands, dress a certain way, et cetera, et cetera. There were rituals, which still go to this day, right? Because small-minded religious leaders, right, haven't even expanded and challenged their own thinking. How about a modern God that isn't based on transactional? If I do this, then I'll be with God. You're with God now. You have to decide that, though. Don't take my word for it. I mean, people have blindly followed religious leaders. Think of Jim Jones or the sneaker cult or Waco or many others across the world, where the leaders said they were the way. I tell my coaching clients, if I ever tell you I found the way, run away. And one of the books I wrote a few years ago was You Might Be Full of Shit If. And the first chapter is I say I'm full of shit somewhere. And to never follow anyone or anything blindly, that our job is to question even our own thinking and to get over small-minded thinking. Where God was, there were no races. Everything was one. So that means everything here, the division here, is for us to learn to accept it and be in wonderment and in awe of all the differences. And we can see so many examples of people making each other wrong, one side blaming the other side, whether it's a religion or politics, and our leaders don't do us any favor because they're small-minded. The brain wants us to be right, and that's a place to check in. especially when we start to rail against others and make them wrong. Those are elitist views. Doesn't matter what you believe. I don't care what side people are on. I don't care. I don't care what faith people are. It's okay. Faith is wonderful. Going to church or temple or mosque is wonderful. The communities are wonderful. They do great things for each other. Food banks, shelters. How many people are actually have missions that go to countries to help people modernize? Very funny, right? Modernize, upgrade their water facilities, purify their water, help them dig wells, sanitation, medical supplies, et cetera, et cetera. Think about it. Faith is wonderful, and those communities are wonderful. Why is it that we still believe in an old version of God? We've modernized, God hasn't. That's egoic. That's again thinking our thinking is greater than God's. We're here to overcome all these challenges in our mind and learn to train our mind and to understand the chaos and conflict we see in this world is necessary for us to make new choices. It's necessary. Without knowing evil or darkness or people that are despotic, we would not make new choices. Plus, we wouldn't allow certain things if we didn't make the decision to say, we're not allowing terrorists, we're not allowing people to kill others, we're not allowing terrorist regimes, we're not allowing a religion to say they're going to dominate the world. That's how we make new choices. Will there ever be heaven on earth here? I doubt it. This is what this is for us to fall. We're supposed to fall. Did you learn to walk without falling? I doubt it. And if you don't remember, then did your children learn to walk without falling? Your neighbor's children, if you don't have children. Your brothers and sisters' children. No one learned to walk without falling, and anything new you learn, you're going to fall. Riding a bike, snowboarding, skiing. Now, are there things that people get up and do naturally? Yes. But we don't question our brain naturally. That takes some work. That's the work I do. I've been doing it for over 25 years. And 23 years as of November 18th, the day that I flatlined, it became my life's purpose to teach people to question their own thinking. Come to your own conclusions. I only want people to experiment with programming their mind. Rainer Maria Rilke in the 1800s said he called his brain the little hooligan. And he would ask himself, will you let the little hooligan run you, or will you run it? And then he suggested that to the people who enjoyed his work, who somehow were attracted to his work. George Ivanovich Gurdjieff in the early 1900s called the brain the machine, would ask the same question. Will you let the machine run you, or will you run it? I'm not making ego wrong. Ego's a good thing. That's what has us surviving. At the same time, don't let ego run you. At least experiment with that. John Maxwell also says we're full of shit somewhere, that our job in life is to get over ourselves. I heard him say that at a Maxwell conference. We have to get over ourselves in life. This work is individual. It's not my work. It's individual work. I'm encouraging people to investigate what neuroscience is even saying about the brain. Dr. Daniel Amen, Dr. James Doty, Dr. Srikumar Rao, Dr. Roland Alexander, who wrote Wise Mind, Open Mind. Read Self-Observation by Red Hawk about triggers. Triggers, people who trigger you, and events that trigger you into what I call low-frequency emotions, which is R.J. Spina's work. Low-frequency emotions like anger, frustration, stress, overwhelm, sadness, feeling stuck, small-minded thinking. Those are low frequency emotions that are clues that you're stuck in low frequency thinking, primal thinking, as David Baer calls it. Powerful thinking are thoughts like being creative, being grateful, stress-free, choosing the easier paths, non-judgmental, helping others. Those are all powerful emotions that lead to a greater return, by the way, on investment in your life. The more time you spend in powerful emotions and thinking, you'll have a greater return than people who spend more time in the primal thinking and emotions. It's up to you. You make the decision to question your mind. You choose to see God everywhere. Catch yourself complaining and say, what's the gift in this? This is for me. That job is for you. It's for you to get over yourself. Instead of being bored and falling asleep on the job, decide that you're going to bring your enthusiasm for what God presented you. What reached you was never meant to miss you, as Muhammad said, or Christ said, everything works together for good, that you'll shift into that and find God in the moment. You'll find the miracle in that work. And if you can't find the miracle, you will. Just trust you will. Bring the best everywhere. And that's how your life will improve. Don't get stuck in the complaint and the grievances about others. And if you have a complaint about someone, bring it to them. Have a conversation. Hey, I noticed I've got a complaint about you and I want to talk about it. And let's discuss it. Instead of what most people do is share it with others. Gossip. Stupid. It stinks, by the way. You're bringing them a problem they can't solve. Why waste their time and energy? Go to the person or people that can do something about it. You might have an idea that's a solution, and they might have an idea, right? Because it starts a dialogue, which we're missing in our leadership everywhere. Religious leaders claim one sect of a religion is wrong and is right, and the other's wrong in the same religion, right? Protestants and Catholics, Shia and Sunnis have fought for eons. How silly. And somehow they think that's inspired by God. Anything small-minded is not from the creator of a universe. That's what I suggest. Einstein, when asked about God, would say, go read the God of Spinoza, Baruch Spinoza. He wrote that in the 1600s. I feature that in this book, You Missed God on the Way to the Mosque, the Temple, or the Church, How to See God Everywhere. I've also featured it in other books, including Sage Advice. I wrote Sage Advice a few years ago, which is all quotes from people for thousands of years that, by the way, model this same idea that our thinking is the problem. And believing we're right all the time, it doesn't mean you're wrong, because you might be right. But if you don't have some space between that thought and the next thought, and if you're reacting and you're triggered and you're angry, you're missing the gift. Those people and those events are your greatest teachers. But that's up to you. Don't take my word for it. Don't take my word for anything. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm Steve Lentini. Here, I'll tell you how to reach me. Steve at, just put the Steve at stevelentini.com. You could be a guest. You can come on and challenge me. You can send me questions, email me questions, and I'll answer them. I'll do the best I can. I don't have all the answers. All right. Experiment with small-minded thinking and work to see God in everything. And that's up to you. Do it or not. Go do good. Let's do good. See how you feel today. Make that your goal. You'll do good. And see everyone who crosses your path today as sent from God. How about that? Just do that. Thank you.